Hello and welcome to the Fat Squirrel Speaks. Today is Tuesday, July 20, I think it's the 21st. This is episode 151. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, it's July 1st.
Thanks, Tova. Tova confirms it is in fact the 21st. Unpaid interns to the rescue. So, how are you? Olive wanted to say hi. She didn't really, but I snatched her up off the floor because she only weighs 3 pounds. And she's very cute. So this is the Fat Squirrel Speaks. I'm Amy Beth, your hostess, also known as the Fat Squirrel in Ravelry, and the Fat Squirrel SQRRL on Instagram. Right? Isn't she cute?
Right there.
Okay, but maybe not so much the kisses. Anyway, so this week's episode is kooky wacky. Mostly, well, it's for many reasons, really, quite frankly. For one reason, I haven't podcasted in a while. For another reason, SSK happened. I think there's a third reason, but I feel like it's really mostly just the SSK because I'm still kind of in reentry phase. The camera is really tilted, isn't it? I don't think I fiddled with that enough, right? Is that better? Or is it better or worse? Better or worse? I can't tell. So it's like SSK Reentry, so I'm really kind of still wonkadoodly, plus there's animals flying around, plus my child is flying around. So there is more distractions than is even normal existing within my brain. Now there are outside distractions too. So it may be a little bit more caca than normal. But let's Frank, you turn in for caca. Come on, don't lie. You're here for the caca. So there's not too much, there's content. It's actually pertinent to the show. There is knitting and spinning. There's not a ton because, well, whatever. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then I'm going to talk about, I think I'll do knitting and spinning first probably, and then there'll be some shameless self-promotion, and then it'll just be like me rambling about SSK until I look at the time and it's ridiculously too long. So does that sound like a plan? Also, my hair is especially gorgeous today. Oh my gosh. Plus you're going to hear a dog running into paper bags because I think our puppy might actually be a cat. I'm not sure, but I think maybe she's a cat. Anyway, I need medication. What was I going to say? Oh, so then I'll just, so my hair. Okay, so it's especially crazy. We started swimming lessons today. So, you know, it's not that hot, but it's kind of hot. I was wearing a hat because I'm a ginger and I finally own the fact that sunblock, Malia confirmed it. Malia's Rhymes Memoria confirmed it on our drive down to Nashville. Sunblock is not your first line of defense. It's like the third line of defense, including like shade and physical barriers. So I've started really wearing giant crazy hats. But that also means that when you sweat in a giant crazy hat, your hair looks especially exciting, which it does right now. But whatever, you're not here for my hair. You're not here for my hair. Unless you're here to mock my hair, in which case, go right ahead. Just don't tell me about it. Just keep it to yourself. Feel pretty, keep it to yourself. Okay? Okay. So, yeah, let's start. I'm thinking, I felt like there was some sort of housekeeping thing I was supposed to do. And now I can't remember what it was. Oh, there's a housekeeping thing that's happening. Blip is shutting down. So this won't affect iTunes people at all because iTunes and Blip don't love each other anymore, or maybe they do, but not in my world. So they are totally different things and uploads. I think what'll happen is, in theory, what will happen is I will just start uploading to YouTube, which is also probably why, and you may not know this because you may only be watching on YouTube and therefore not know that I've recorded anything. But Blip also stopped talking to YouTube a little while ago, which is probably why. So I think all that will be different is I will just be uploading to YouTube instead of Blip, and theoretically everything should just work out fine. But if it doesn't, iTunes should be unaffected. So you should be able to watch in like a Downcast or a pod. Wow, that's a lot on my head. You should be able to watch in like a Downcast or a Podcatcher or whatever the flippity flap you watch it on that talks to iTunes. Should not be a problem. Other things might be wonky. I'm only human. So anyway, hopefully it will go smoothly. Famous last words. So that was the housekeeping thingy. Again, don't worry, I'm not dead. Nothing terrible is happening. Also, nothing terrible is happening that I've been recording so slipshottily lately. It's just because it's summertime. And it's been raining like crazy. Which, okay, that's one thing. But like the thing that it means is that my husband, whose job is outside, is home way more often than normal. And if you're a new viewer, I'll tell you this. If you're an old viewer, I'm sorry you've heard this before, but that's how this works. My house has like 4 doors in it or something. Like there's like less than 6 doors in it. Not counting the outside doors. But like there's no place for me to close the door and do a podcast except for in my bedroom, which is creepy, or my kids' room, which is just weird. Or a bathroom. Nobody wants that. So that's why sometimes it gets wonky. Because I mean, I'm pretty sad, but it's distracting when my child is here. But then also a husband and like it's too much. I can't do it. It's too much. It's weird to have somebody see you talk to the camera. Like that's weird enough. But then when they're also just like the distraction level. I think I was telling somebody, I think it was Malia maybe. It's also when and again, this is only like my idea of what it is because I don't know what it is to be a two-person team. It's also kind of harder when you're a one-personer, I think, to record as regularly because, you know, when you're 2 people, it's like that's the time you get together and you interact, and like that's an exciting incentive in and of itself, right? But when you're a one person and like you haven't done a ton of knitting and there's all these things kind of like conspiring against you, like, yeah, clearly I could get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and podcast if I were motivated enough to make that happen. But I'm not. So anyway, so those are excuses or reasons or however you want to look at that, but that's why. Okay. So, knitting and spinning. I am working, I finished some Fiber of Unnotedness. But this is from Spun Right Round, and it was a club colorway. I was in her club for a while. I opted out not because everything was not absolutely gorgeous, because of course it was, but because I was collecting a collection. It was getting out of control. Really, I think it was only in her club. I wasn't in her club that long, but somehow I think I got a double club. That's not really what happened. But like, it seemed like before I knew it, suddenly I had like a whole IKEA cube of just Spun Right Round fiber, and I was like, what? I thought I just joined your club like 2 days ago. Maybe it was also because I was also buying from her store because, hi, everything she does is awesome. And I have a problem. But this is some of her fiber, and I don't know if base it is, but if I had to guess, I would say Rambouillet, but I could totally be wrong, because I usually am. But it's something like that. Something that you want to do this to. Like that. And like I usually like to do that to Rambouillet a lot. But isn't it fun? It's a very fun. It's just a 2-ply. It's 276 yards. So it's like a DK light worsted-y. It's uneven as usual. I am not I'm not a super consistent spinner, but you know what? Most times I knit stuff, I don't even notice it's not consistent. So in the skein, you're like, that's a little wonky. But when it's actually knit into something, you usually don't notice. Or maybe it's just me and I don't notice. But it's for me and by me, so that's all that matters. Okay? Okay. Keep our eyes on our own paper. And I like it. It's very fun. So there's that. And then I am working on, I can't remember if I showed this or not, but I got some Moon Rover fiber. And this is a superwash merino. My puppy's making weird noises. I don't know if you can hear them or not. It is a superwash merino nylon base, which is not my favorite base ever. Not anything to do with Moon Rover, because it's gorgeous and it's beautifully prepared. It's not that at all. It is just, I don't love merino. I really don't love superwash merino. I don't know that the nylon has that much of a difference, but whatever, either way. Now I feel like if I was spinning this fat, I would not mind at all. But I'm trying to spin it at least like a 2-ply fingering, and I'm not the skinniest spinner. Okay, obvious statements. No, I'm not a great fine spinner. Like the last illustration, the last episode, I can never call them the right things. The last edition of the Ply magazine was about fine, and I was very excited because I'm just not the greatest fine spinner. I'm just not. But I would like to have a 2-ply fingering weight, which I think should be no problem. But you know, it's a little bit skinnier than I would normally spin. That's all it is. It's a little bit thinner than I would usually spin a merino or a superwash merino, because to me, everybody's different. Doesn't mean you can't spin it super frog hair teeth skinny. Now, there's a frog hair that grew off a tooth of a frog, that's really skinny. Just saying. Or that's a really freaky frog. One or the other. That doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just me. It's just like everything else in our community and in the textile arts. There's a gajillion babillion variables. Sometimes we call that word variables and not the variables, but I kind of like variables because it sounds like vavoom. Anywho, did I mention I'm a little bit still re-entering from SSK? I mean, let's face it, I'm always out there, right? But I feel especially like, oh, look, the ideas, they're all floating around me in a giant stream of craziness. Let's pick one. Here, oh, there's one over here. Oh, wait, this one's here now. It's like that really very intensely today. Just saying. So, it's just like anything. You know, some people find it's very easy to spin merino. It just is you. It's just how you do things. Because, again, most of it, it's not very common to find people spin the same way. All the things. That's what I'm saying. Oh, so I'm spinning it. And originally what I was going to do is, and I'm almost done with the first 4 ounces. I got 8 ounces because this colorway. It's called Luna Moth. Moon Rover's color sense I love ever so much. But again, it's brush nylon, not my friend. But this, I was like, I can just do it. Arrgh. So I got 2 4-ounce braids, and I can't decide. Originally what I thought I might do is spin them each on a bobbin and then apply them together, and I know they won't match up because, as I said earlier, not a consistent spinner. But I think now what I'm going to do is, of course, I've spun one exactly as it is in the braid, and then I think this one I might split into like 5 or 6, and so that there'll be one ply that is a very long color change, but then within it, so there'll still be like color blocks, but within the blocks there'll be more variation. Does that make sense? I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's what I'm going to do. Oh my gosh. It's like squeaking of toys. It's all crazy. Anywho, so that's that. I'm almost done with the first 4 ounces. This is not speedy because I am not speedy, and then merino is not speedy. Knitting. I finished my Wonderland tank. Now you're gonna be like, well, why aren't you wearing it? Well, because I'm a loser. So here it is. I have one more end to weave in that I found afterwards. Because you know you always do stuff like that, right? But here it is. I knit mine with Knit Picks Shine Sport. So it's a cotton, I think it's 100% cotton. Really? So easily. Oh, I bet there's still one in here. Oh no, I cleaned up. Damn me. Oh, sorry. See, cursey curse face and everything. Shine Sport. And this is 60% Pima cotton, 40% modal. I knew it was like some sort of blend. It's a sport weight. This is the Wonderland tank. And it is by Nicole Montgomery. The darker color, the brown is Wallaby, and the green is Pea Pod, and then there's other colors. Words. So here it is. I knitted very close. It is an A-line tank. I had -2 inches of ease in the hip because that's what Amy Herzog told me to do, so that's what I do. So I had -2 inches of ease in the hip, and then I did the upper bust. I'm a 46 above my boobs. So upper bust is 46, and that's what she suggests you use as your sizing. But I don't think that the 46 upper bust would have accommodated my fruitful hips or whatever. So what I did, of course, is probably did more increases than you're really supposed to or whatever. So, I mean, yes, I modified it, but not in any crazy way. I just freaking sweatered it, basically, as Amy Herzog says, too. Because Amy Herzog is a genius. Okay? Okay. So I discussed last time that I'm not happy with the purple. I'm still not happy with the purple. However, when you're wearing it, you don't really see that purple as much as you do, obviously, when you're looking at it like this. Hi. So I think eventually I would like to change it, but it's not, I haven't found anything that I'm immediately like, yes, that is what it should be changed to. So right now it's just hanging out. But I did everything else as suggested. I did the armholes just like they were suggested. I did the finishing. It's a pickup knit 5 rows, I think, bind off, so you just get this nice roll, which works really well, I think. It looks very cute and finished. Obviously, you're seeing the inside of my sweater. It's not as pretty, but it seems to want to, it doesn't seem to roll on the, and it's broad enough that it covers even my, like, old lady bra straps, you know? So that's nice, and I didn't change that at all. I may, oh, that's the only thing I did. I think I made it just an inch shorter than was suggested, but I was afraid that cotton would stretch. It's not, mine's not stretching now. It doesn't seem like, I mean, maybe if I wear it more than it will stretch, but my gauge was pretty firm on this. So I'm not going to stand up because I don't have a bra on. And so the fit you would see would not really be helpful to you. I'm kind of like not sure how to style this tank. Like I don't know how to wear it. You know, like I don't know what to wear it with. But anyway, it fits I think it fits really nicely. It's fun, right? Obviously not with a t-shirt. Oh, you know, whatever, with a t-shirt, who cares? I'm not judging. Wear with a t-shirt, I don't care. But I think originally I had thought the color combo would be good. I have like a navy skirt with a dot, like a white dot in it. It's like just a knit A-line mid-calf skirt. And so originally I thought these colors would be fun with that, but now the purple, but I think the purple's just in my head, right? I think the weird purple is just in my head, so I think I can wear with that. But anyway, I'm kind of like not sure how to style it. I feel like if I were fancy, I would wear it with like a khaki skirt, but I don't have one of those. So I don't plan on buying one anytime soon. So anyway, but it does fit nicely. The armhole fits really well. It doesn't, I don't think it shows my bra very, I mean, maybe right at the edge, but I mean, what tank top really? It doesn't. It's, I think it's nice. I washed it in the machine. I did not put it in the dryer. I just hung it to dry. Well, I laid it to dry. So yeah, I think I like it. I just don't know how to wear it yet, but I'll figure that out. Sometimes that you have like an aesthetic of the item in your head before you even make it. This was not like that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still kind of trying to feel out what to do with it. But I do think I like it. I brought it to SSK, but I did not wear it because here's a secret. That's not a secret because I told people. I somehow forgot to bring any extra bras. I only had the bra that I was wearing, which was white. And so I felt like if it was going to show, it was going to be very obvious. And somebody would, of course, not intentionally, but of course would take a picture and there would be like my bra, it would just be like my boob and a bra outside the sweater somehow magically. Like that's what was going to happen in my head. How did I forget to bring any extra bras? I knew that it was on my list somehow. Whatever. At least I had the one I had on, right? Not cute. But anyway, moving on. It wasn't that bad. I was really afraid there was going to be like, and maybe it's just me. Maybe everybody else was like, no, it was really that bad. But I did like the full-on crazy person sniffing of the bra. Now, I don't know what I was going to do if I found, I guess I would have just found a there are washing machines there. Even though, but my fear was it's so humid that I was like, yes, I can wash this bra, but I cannot put this bra in the dryer because it will like explode. My bras don't go in the dryer. Like that's danger 5,000. because they do really, like they do, sometimes they get caught in the drums sometimes, and it rips them apart. Like, cause I was like, that's the worst, like that would be bad. If I didn't have to wash it and just washed it just like for funsies, and then it exploded, and I can't go to Target and get a bra. Well, I mean I can, but I can't get a bra that's gonna fit on my boob. Do you know what I mean? Right, specialist boobs. But I was like, what would that would be, oh my gosh, how terrible would that be if I had no bra? I just have to hide for the rest of the week. Not cute. So I did the full on like of the bra to like make sure it wasn't and it somehow magically wasn't. Again, maybe it was just me. You know how sometimes you're like immune to your own smells? That's my fear anyway. So maybe everybody else was like, no, really, it was out of control. Whatever. Nobody like publicly shamed me about it, so thanks. So what was I saying? Oh, so yeah, that's the reason I wear it. But anyway, moving on. The other thing that happened that was crazy, besides me, was that I decided that I was going to cast on this Seiko Stripes. It's another 10. It's not like I love my fat arms. I just, for some reason, I'm like, yes, that's clearly so exciting not to knit a sleeve. But it's true. It's very exciting because A, it's a lot less yardage, B, it's a lot less knitting, and C, it's a lot less fitting. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worry about whether the sleeve fits or not because there's no sleeve. That's what I'm saying. And when it's hot, you see why it's tempting, right? You see why it's tempting. So anyway, I decided to also cast on the Seiko Stripe. And I apologize, I'm not sure who wrote that pattern, but I'm looking it up. As you can see, my face is glowing. So I did I'm so still tired, I'm sorry. Seiko Stripe Tank, her. And that is by Pam Allen. Thank you, Pam Allen. I don't think I could have handled a wonky name today. I shouldn't say wonky. I don't think I could have handled an interesting, a non-vanilla name. That's maybe the best. Thank you, Pam Allen. Anyway, it's the Seiko Stripes, and it's written for Quince & Company's Sparrow, which is their linen. And then I am knitting mine in I need to yell at my child in just a moment. This is Finn. Hey, Tova Grace. Could we maybe not do that while I'm trying to record, please? Yeah. Thanks. This is Finn, which is the main color. And then I feel like Fjord is the other color, but it's something like that. It's navy blue. So, and now it has been 3 weeks since we recorded. I've recorded. Wait, what? This is really all I've knit on. I had not knit on anything else. I mean, I didn't knit on this at the pipeline, or at the SSK. I'll tell you why in just a minute. But like, I didn't really do much knitting there anyway. But like, this is all I knit on other than that. So, in 3 weeks. So there's a reason there's something done. But, so there it is. I know, it's crazy down. It is bottom up. I think it is written front and back. So cute, Pam Allen. I just did mine in the round because there's no... Not only that, I really don't want to seam linen because it's a really open structure, like the gauge is very open, and so it's somewhat translucent, and so when you seam it, in my head it's going to be very obvious. Because the reason I say this is because I have another sweater I knit with Sparrow, and I just wove in the ends as normal. And it's very obvious. They're like stripes in my sweater where I wove in ends. So that's the reason I was like, I mean, anyway, hello if I can knit in the round. Pa-pa! But especially with that being an issue. So here it is. It is just a regular old cast on for the hem, and it rolls a little bit but linen is different than wool with its rolling. I think when it blocks, it's going to actually block out a little bit flatter with just a tiny bit of roll. If not, then I can go do something else, but the pattern is written that way. And then you have some striping with some, and it's another A-line tank. Now, what you're supposed to do is make it a tank top, because that's what it is. However, I decided that I wanted to make mine like a cap sleeve, like in the, I believe it's called, well, whatever. It's not really like this, so why am I even telling you this? Because I'm going to knit that next anyway, and then I'm giving that person credit then. I'm just going to make it like a tee. So, like, I'm just going to, well, I've already started, but I'll tell you in words. Instead of binding off, and then also decreasing for this, did I tell you? I did this all like it was supposed to be. I didn't modify this at all. This part. Like, maybe with a t-shirt this would be kind of cute. Okay, stop. So, this is how it's written though, with like binding off and decreasing so you get a tank shape. So what I did is, when I got to the armhole, I cast on 18 stitches. And I don't know, I just made that number up. Because my gauge is about 6 stitches to the end. So here's 3 inches. And then what I'll do is make like a T-shape shirt. And maybe I'm going to draw this and it's just going to fail for you. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But just in case you don't, and you're like, what is the words and she's saying them? What is happening? So this is really all I'm going to do. Is make a t-shirt essentially. So you knit to the underarm, you cast on your 18 stitches, and then you knit. Okay, and at some point in there, like this, if this is this, let's say this is the back in all likelihood. Like I'm working a few bit of short rows that are just in this part, so not in the sleeve itself, just in the body. I'm working some short rows in there to try to help bring the back up a little bit. And then in the front, what I hope to do and what I plan to do is make it like a scoop neck. So I will cast off somewhere in here for a scoop neck. That makes sense. I have another Quince & Company sweater, but I can't remember what it's called now. I want to say Kara, but I'm just making that up. But it's a 3/4 sleeve t-shirt that you do this T, but it's like you cast it on the hip, work all the way, and then you fold it down and seam it at the end. You don't need to know that information. I don't know why I'm telling you. That's just confusing. Sorry. But what I guess what I'm trying to say is I didn't think of this myself. This is like a thing that happens in several patterns. Basically, nothing I've ever said have I ever thought of myself. In all likelihood, somebody else has said it before I have. 99.9%. Okay? Okay. So that's what I'm going to do, I think. And I think it'll be cute in the linen. So what I would do, so the times I would feel like it was okay to do this, and again, my opinion. This crazy hot messes person, only my opinion. Just my opinion. The only times I would do this is if I had very little ease in my sweater, like if it that wool sweater that I was just telling you about has very little ease, and so it's kind of your arm is already stretched, so lack of shaping in that way. The pattern is lace in that sweater. It's an all over lace pattern, so it has more stretch in it. You know, that is good. With the linen, I feel like it'll be okay because it's just going to drape and fall to this shape. I would not do it with like a tighter fabric because what my fear would be, and maybe it would be unfounded, but my fear would be that the sleeve would do this, which is not a cute look for me at all. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. So I'll just report back with further information when I get the fit done. But so anyway, in my head, linen is, again, it's very drapey, and it will be very forgiving of that without, you know, even though that doesn't have shaping in it. I think it'll be okay. I'll also probably put a little bit of shaping in the shoulder just to give it a little bit more depth right here, a little bit of short row right like here-ish. Just so, but you can see my shoulders are not real, they're very narrow for my body size. That's why when I do this, I look like a normal sized human. But when I'm full figure, full me, giant. From like here up, I'm very normal sized. Whatever. So that's my theory. I love these colors together so much. It's ridiculous. It gives me intense joy to have these two colors together. I can't believe I so love neutrals anymore. Oh, taupe? Why, you would have told me that I would enjoy taupe or varieties thereof 10 years ago, and I would have laughed in your face in a comical, like over-exaggerated way, like ha 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 ha. Now I'm like, ooh, taupe. Navy's another thing I'm super in love with all of a sudden. Everything should be navy and taupe. These colors that are not as colory as most of the colors, I still love them. So anyway, so I'll have to wear, well, I don't have to. I can do what I want, but I probably will wear a tank underneath of this because it is rather translucent. So, again, I may not, but I probably will. And so this is when I split for the front and back. I have this much of a sleeve done, but my arm is bigger than that, so I gotta keep going. So yeah, and then in the front I have not started all. That's the back. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. And I have plenty of yarn. Oh, one thing I do want to talk about with this. The reason I didn't take it to SSK. This is going to be the longest episode ever. The reason I didn't take this to SSK was that, well, A, it was like in a thinky place because I'm now off pattern. Like, you know what I mean? Like now I'm just making stuff up. And like that's fine, but I don't want to make it up too crazy style. Oh, I forgot. I think I put them on another project. But one of the main reasons I didn't bring it is because this linen is so slippery. Both, I mean, your needles want to slide out of it, so I've been using one of those slidey things. It's like a knitting needle tube with a plastic cap on it that you can slide over these. And so that keeps them on there. And I just took it to another, I put it on another project for another reason. But anyway, whatever. So the other thing I've been doing, so many words. So many words. The other thing I've been doing is I've actually been putting my balls of yarn in a Ziploc bag. I know, right? I'm fancy like that. But the reason I did this was, I'm glad I did this actually. The reason I started it was because Olive is a naughty puppy and would get into the knitting bag because Annie has never bothered knitting. Annie and Olive might be Beezus and Ramona. I'm not saying that they are. I hope they aren't, but they may be. Annie never, like, you would tell her, you know, we told her no a few times, that was it. Olive's like, but anyway, so Olive, like, ran away with this on her leg, and since it's linen, it just, I mean, I had a ball this big that instantly was just a snarl. Because it's just, it just has no self-control, does not hold on to itself at all. So once you start, it just explodes. So this was a good alternative for me to just put them in a little Ziploc bag. Also, that way you don't have to worry about it. Lots of times it'll even, like when it's it's not a magic cake, it's just a cake of yarn. Lots of times, even that, as it starts to collapse, the outside will very easily unspool, and you constantly have to keep. So this just easy peasy keeps it all together and happy. And I did even the, like, when the balls were wound, but the cakes were wound but had not been used, I did put them on one of the, on a toilet paper core. Just, again, that was not necessary when they were in storage in my bag, but it just kind of kept things neater. And I really thought this pattern was crazy because it says, I can't remember how many skeins of quince you need for my size, but it's something like 7, I think. That's a ballpark number. And you only need 1 of the contrasting stripe, and I really thought, there's no way I'm only gonna need 1. That's how much I have left over. So yeah, and that's actually quite a bit. You really only need 1 for your size. So, I think those are all the things I had to talk about. Same thing as the other one. Now the, see, I'm also secretly, I just started another pattern, another sweater, but I just have a tiny bit done, but it's also like kind of married into this one and how it's being done. So it's all kind of floating around my head in a crazy way. This one was 0 ease in the chest. This one is written for -3 inches of ease in the chest. But this pattern specifically tells you to use upper bust. This one does not differentiate. And then the other pattern I'm knitting that looks almost exactly the same on the model as this one does has like 6 inches of positive ease. Yeah. You know what? Who knows? Who? No, it's stretchy. It's okay. It's fine. This knit fits very well actually, but it fits. It's a slimmer fit, which is what I usually like because I'm not tricking you into thinking I don't have a rolly belly. Like I'm not tricking you by wearing a bigger shirt. It just makes me look bigger. So yes, I have a rolly belly, but I'm not this wide. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I usually try to keep a closer body fit. This one is again written for, I really feel like it says -3 inches of ease. But I think what I'm really doing is I'm still doing it like a 46-inch size because that's my upper bust. So, and I really also think I did still a negative ease in the hip. Because again, that's the other thing is when I'm measuring, I'm not measuring really stretched. So even if you're doing a 0 ease sweater, if the gauge is really flexible, now there are some gauges that are not, there's some tight, but if that gauge is really flexible, even if it's technically 0 inches, once you put it on and you move in it, especially when you're my size, I have more fabric to work with. For example, if my garment stretches across the grain 10% and I'm, let's say, a 50-inch just because it's easier math. If it stretches 10% across the grain and I'm a 50, suddenly I got 5 extra inches, right, when it's stretching. However, a smaller busted or a smaller framed person who is going to make, let's just say a 30, just again, easier math, her same garment still has the same stretch in the gauge, right? That doesn't change. So if her garment has a 10% across the grain stretch and she's a 30-inch, she's got 3 inches of ease all of a sudden. Well, I got a lot of extra ease. Does that kind of... So I feel like when you start knitting larger sizes, it's easier to have less and less ease because again, that cross... Now again, this is only when you have flexibility in your garment. This is not woven. This is not very tightly gauged knitting. You know, this is just when you have good flexibility in your garment, which most of my garments do. It's even when you have technically 0 ease, the practical application is that you don't. And also, you know, your gauge often changes as you're knitting, and mine usually, if anything, loosens up a bit. So those are all the words. Did any of them make sense? But that's where I often err on the side of slightly less ease than is maybe standard. I don't even know. But that is why. Okay. Okay. Also, I don't know, when I started knitting like ease patterns, Elizabeth Zimmerman patterns, they were always like, or maybe it wasn't Elizabeth, but I feel like it was Elizabeth. But most of the time patterns were written like as in, or when you were talking about designing, you talked about having 10% ease or like a tight fit, a close fitting garment has 0 to -3% ease, and regular fit has, you know, 3 to 5% ease, and an oversized has 10% ease or whatever. And so again, when you start talking about those percentage eases, that doesn't even sound like it's a thing. Percentage eases. I may not be talking any longer in a language this is recognizable, but anyway, especially when you think about it in terms of percentage, which I think we have generally gotten away from for a very good reason. It was very, like, I think I knit a sweater that I wanted to be like a slightly oversized sweater for like outdoor use. And I think it was like, oh, well, I want it to be oversized, it should be 10% ease. Also, then I make it 50, and then suddenly I've got like 6 inches of extra ease in a sweater that weighs, it's of course like Aran weight or bulky or something. So I have like 8 extra pounds of yarn basically by the time this whole thing is over, and it's ridiculously too large. And then of course, because it's heavy, it's stretching even more. So what I thought was 10% ease is now like 15% ease, and it's just a snowball. So that's why I err on the side of less ease. Not the same if you're doing a woven garment, but in knitting, it's going to stretch. some places it's not going to stretch. It's not going to stretch right on your armhole if it's a seam. But you know what? Most places are going to stretch. That's all I'm saying. With a lot of words. Okay, so that's all of the, oh, let's do some shameless self-promotion. Shameless self-promotion. There'll be an update the 24th, that's Friday, and that will have a wide variety of bags that I brought home from SSK. It has quite a few sock bags, it has some small wedges, some large wedges, and very few sweaters. There's just, actually there may only be 2. But there are a good number of sock wedges especially, and a good handful of small wedges if you would like any of that size. And that will be Friday, the 24th, is when that update will go up. And then Friday the 25th, hopefully in the morning, I'm on Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Time. I don't know if it's standard anymore or what, daylight time, whatever. On New York City time, here in Indiana. So at that point, when that happens in the morning of the 25th, I hope to do a pre-order. And the pre-order will be for these bags. Now, if you're not on Instagram, you probably have no idea what this is, but if you are, then that's what this is. It is a custom print fabric from the good folks at Spoonflower. And it is like, by the way, I know you all know this, but just in case you don't, I don't make any of my own fabric prints. Like, I don't design any of that. It's all other humans that are beautiful and talented, and I'm thankful for their faces. I am just a curator of fabrics. I just choose fabrics that I like and I think that you will like. So I don't in any way claim to design any of these fabrics, and I hope that that's understood. That is not my talent. I just am good at buying stuff. So these, though, are all old library cards. How fun is that? So, you know, this one is Harriet the Spy, and it really does have like the date stamp on it. And then like the handwriting of the people, they're just scanned. I mean, I'm sure this person at auction or something just, or maybe they are a librarian, just bought old checkout cards that are in the back pocket of a library book. And they scanned them in and made this great fabric. So, you know, example, this one is Scandinavian Legends and Folktales. So you know you went through a mythology phase. Well, in 1974, Mike Johnson also went through a mythology phase. And then December 3rd, 1982, S. Rush also had her mythology phase. So it's just fun, right? Now some of them don't have very much. Like Slaughterhouse-Five, not wildly popular. Just one checkout. And there's like Whitman's We Leaves of Grass, no checkouts. Sorry, Walt. But you know, so there is a lot of variety. There are a few that are actually like colored. Like this one is also empty but colored, and that is James Fenimore Cooper's The Last of the Mohicans. There's Alice in Wonderland. There's Little House on the Prairie. There's A Wrinkle in Time. You know, so there's all the fun. Now, again, this is a huge repeat on this fabric, so I can't guarantee that you will have any certain card. If you want to make the notes, there's when you go through Big Cartel, there is a place you can add a note to me. That's the best place rather than PayPal, because that's where I pull all my shipping from. Well, it's where I pull my invoicing from, is for Big Cartel. So if you can put that note in the Big Cartel part, you know, I will try my best to get you what you want, but I cannot guarantee it in any way. And this is another one where there will be wild placement. This one worked out really great where you get 2 full cards. But you know, you may, like here, you get 1 full card and a little bit of another one. Or it might work out that you get half of one. You should at least get 1 line of titles on this size bag. This is the large wedge. And on this size bag, which is better, you should get 2 lines of titles. It may not be the full card, but you should be able to see 2 full title lines. That's my hope. So these will be pre-order. This is a custom printed fabric, so it is like depending on how they feel that day. They're wildly variable in their shipping times, and it'll depend on quantity too. They get a little wonky when you order large quantities. So I hope that these will all ship within 6 weeks. That is my intention and my goal. I don't like to do a pre-order that's lasting that long. Because I prefer not to do pre-orders in some ways. But in other ways, it's like this, I have no idea the temperature on this. And it's fun, and it would be fun if we could have one if we want one. So, and also pre-order is great in a lot of ways, because then I can get you exactly what you want and how many you want. But that does unfortunately mean I have a 6 to 8 week lead time, just depending on how many of you order them. Okay, so I will do my best to get them out as soon as I can. Trust me, I get really uptight about these kind of things. I won't be like, I'll get to it. No, since it comes in, I'm working. But it takes a lot to come in. So anyway, so there's that. They'll be up July 25th through the 28th unless something crazy happens and there's like a way more call for it than I anticipate. So I don't think I don't think it'll be more than I can do, but in case it is, that's why it's closed down earlier, not just because I don't like you, because I didn't know you hadn't already ordered. So anyway, it'll have that up through July 25th through July 28th. It'll only be these 2 sizes. And the reason it's only these 2 sizes is because, as you can see, these cards are pretty big. And if I do a smaller bag, you won't get a whole card, and it'll be sad. This fabric is 100%. It's just the lining is just the unbleached cotton. This is a cotton canvas. If you saw this bag at SSK, this one is different fabric. It is a canvas that's a cotton linen. So this is a cotton canvas, and the printing shows up much more crisply than it did on the linen. So that's why I have decided to go with this base of fabric. And it's nice. It is very heavy. Like, you could make a tote bag out of it and it would feel pretty sturdy. So that's the shameless self-promotion. So again, there will be a mixed bag update on the 24th, and then these guys will be up the 25th through the 28th. The rest is just going to be talking about SSK. Oh my gosh, we're already 47 minutes. I need an iced coffee. Okay, so I can't talk about everything because really it's just, there's too much awesomeness. Maybe I'll try to do like an overview of, and then maybe do, because I usually don't show all this, my gluttony. Such a wool pig. But I kind of want to this time. Because the difference is too, like, you know, you're hanging out with a lot of the vendors are there and you're hanging out with them, and so you're like, oh, their face is so awesome. I should talk about how awesome their face is. So I have lots and lots of stuff. And I took lots of great classes. I mean, of course, without saying, the people are wonderful. I mean, so this is how I feel about knitting retreats, which I realized this weekend. And I've said this to a few of you who are at SSK. And by the way, SSK is a Super Summer Knit Together. It's put on by the Knit Girls, and it's held in Nashville, Tennessee. It's held at Scarlett Bennett Center, which was previously like a Bible college kind of a, I think. I'm just making that up. I'm pretty sure. So it has some fun architecture. It's very like gothic-y, like it's very much Harry Pottery. There's a dining hall that you eat in, and like it's a lovely location. And the air conditioning works so well this time. Thanks, air conditioning. The first year I went, that it was hot. The air conditioning was not quite up to par. This year, oh, it's delicious. Got a little warm during the market, but that's to be expected. There were lots of people going in and out, in and out, in and out of a building, and so it had a little trouble keeping up. But other than that, I mean, you would be hot walking from A to B, but it was delicious. And you know, at home we keep our air conditioning, we don't turn our air conditioning down very low because we try to be frugal and we try to be aware of how much we're consuming. But I won't lie that I was just like, it's so cold and wonderful. But anyway, so that's what it is. Oh, and so this is how I feel about retreats in general. It's especially nice to retreat like this. We show up on Wednesday and we leave on Sunday morning. So it's a good amount of time. But like it's a rare occasion in life, I guess, where you can be your best and you can be around people who are also being their best. And like you're all being your best all at the same time. And like what a treat that is. And it's not fake. It's not false. It's not unreal in any way. It is just that you actually have an opportunity to be your best. You're not worrying about whether or not your child is acting like a mutant. Like, you're not worried that maybe she doesn't understand her multiplication tables and she's just memorizing them. You're not thinking that like, oh, what am I going to have for dinner on Thursday? Because on Wednesday I know we're having this, but then the leftovers for that, will they last till Friday? That is all not, well, usually, is not in your brain. Right? So you really can be your best. And then other people around you are having that same thing where you're just all being your best. And we happen to have this other thing in common that we really love, obviously, because we're at a knitting retreat. Crazy. Yeah, it's a rare event in life that you get to be your best while you're being around other people who are at their best. It's awesome sauce. And that is the best thing about retreats ever. That's the best thing about them. So that was the moment, the epiphany that I had to tell a million people about. I'm sure they're like, shush, we get it, we understand. But anyways, that was my exciting moment of So, and that's what a retreat is. Right. Sign up. I know that not everybody can go to this one because, there's a lot of us. Not everybody can go to that one, not everybody can go to this one, but there's a lot of great ones out there. And I've not heard, I've not talked to anybody who went to retreat who didn't have a good time. Do you know what I mean? Or who at least was not given the opportunity to have a good time. Because that's the other thing is it is what you make of it. And if anytime you go into a situation and of course then you wouldn't have a good time. So, you're grown up and you paid for this thing. It's not somebody's responsibility to make you have a good time. They're supposed to make it so that you can have a good time. Do you know what I mean? So you're given the opportunity to have a good time. And it's awesome. And again, not everyone go to this one, not everyone go to that one. But there's one that you can go to that you can get there. And yay. Or you can make your own, with a few people that you know that are local to you or that you just know from chatting on Ravelry or whatever that you might find that are local to you, and you can go, you go to a hotel. Doesn't have to be far away. Has to be far away that your kids can't find you. Just saying. Has to be far enough away that you're not going home to make dinner. That doesn't count. But so, yeah, make your own. So the great thing about the SSK is not only that it's got all the things that you want in terms of getting to be yourself and getting around to be other people who are being themselves and all this great stuff and they're taking care of you, but also those great teachers. This year I took 3 classes. I know every year I'm like, no, I'm only taking 1 class next year. I'm not doing it. No, 3, because really I take 3 classes and then I vend. So I have 1 block in the afternoon where I'm not scheduled for something, but it's fine because I kind of like it that way too. I like structure, except in clothing, and not so much. But anyway, so I took a class. My first class was from Sarah Anderson, and she is the author of it's the Spinner's Book of Yarn, I think, right? I have it. I can't remember exactly, but I believe it's the Spinner's Book of Yarn. Design, maybe, by Sarah Anderson. She was lovely. I took her soft core class, which was about core spinning. And so we made some fun, crazy, boucle-y kind of looking-ish yarns. So that was fun. And again, like most teachers, like most classes, I've never taken a class except at SSK, I don't think. I might be a liar who lies, but I'm not sure. I don't think I have. Or at least not a formal class. Excuse me. Oh, this episode's gonna take so long to upload. Okay. What was I gonna say? Oh, so it's not just the content. Because really, as a knitter, especially as a spinner, I'm like, show me all the things. I don't know what I'm doing. But especially as a knitter who's knit for a long time, if it's a class specifically about knitting, I'm like, well, I kind of know how to do that. But it's not just the content that's prescribed that you learn in a class. It's because your instructor is generally a very knowledgeable person, and stuff that was not planned to discuss, or just little tips and tricks that just kind of fly out of them without even their knowledge or planning, is really sometimes the most valuable part of a class. But this class, I've never done core spinning before. So you make this fun yarn. This was made with a bat. Right? It's just crazy wackadoodly. Now, it was very fun. And you do make very fun, and I can imagine if you're making a toy or something, this would be an awesome addition. Will I be doing a ton of core spinning in my future? I don't foresee that I will, because I'm still at a place where I like to spin because I like to make yarn that I'm going to knit with eventually. I mean, I'm not just for the product, but that is a driving factor in my spinning. So this was fun, and I definitely could do this again because it was fun to do, but I would be, not sure what to do with this. I mean, I have ideas of what you could do with it, but I wouldn't necessarily want to do any of those things. You know what I mean? Obviously, this is an awesome weaving yarn. It'd be great to put in as an accent to something. It would make great doll hair. It would make a great textural piece within another piece, like a textural component within another piece. It'd be great for doing any sort of stuffy, because that would make a great, fun, textured stuffy. But those are not things I regularly do, so I'm not like, yes, let's get on it. But that said, I feel like I understand exactly what I'm supposed to do if I do want to make this again. If I'm just like, sometimes you just need like a palette cleanser between other projects, and that would be fun. So we did that with the bats, and we also, the core spinning. We also did core spinning from top. So this was just like a combed top. And this is just plied with another thread. What are you doing, Olive? What is it? So, so there's that. And then we did also one with mohair locks. And you just open them up with your hands, or you could use flick cards or something like that, but you can do that. And so you make this really fun, just flurfy floofer. Olive, come here. The dog is like in this place where she likes to whine about stuff, but I'm often like, I have no idea what you're whining about. It's like a baby, I guess. It cries. You're just like, what? You're fed, you're a clean diaper, what are you doing? So the great thing is she gave out this little handout too that's about softcore, so you can put this in your library for later use. Formatted very much like her book is. So that's cool. That was a cool handout. Oh, I didn't bring Susan. Well, I wouldn't want to show you necessarily, but okay, so I took that class, and then the next class I took was from Susan B. Anderson, who, of course, magic sauce. She's the sauce of magic. And I took her shawl design class. It was the first time she taught the class. Of course, you would never know, but the reason you would never know is because she is a very prolific shawl designer, and so has a lot of content knowledge that makes it very easy to keep a class going and entertained. And I'm so sorry, I'm going to dip down for 1 second. No, what's that? Being weird. So that class was really great. I've been wanting to really do some shawl design, and I have just not taken the time to start. You know, it takes a lot of different space in your head. It takes a concentrated space. Sorry, but the dog is whining, it's driving me crazy. It takes a really concentrated space in your head, or at least it does in my head. And my thought, in my mind, what happens is you have to have a space in your brain that's dedicated to that one thing. And at this point in my life, I'm not very good at that. But I've been wanting to do it because I think it would, A, I think it would be fun, and B, I think it would be a great way to build community and share with other people, and C, I think it would be a great way to, you know, add additional revenue stream, let's be quite frank, into my life. So there's all those different reasons that I think it would be a great thing. And it would be great just to have my name out there more. All these things. You're like, dude, we don't need to know your business plan. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little tired. I started out tired and I'm like, really, what's happening? So anyway, so it was great to take her class because it really was like, hey, lady, you know, heads up, you know, all the things that have been floating around in your brain, we're going to present them all together. And for me, even though it was a lot of the content was maybe not like revelation, like not like, oh, I had no idea. There were a few tips and tricks that were just like that. Like where I would watch do something and be like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. You know, but just to have it all together, like, you know, like in my head, it's all here, but to have it presented in one place really helps to bring organization to my mind. Does that make sense? So that was awesome. And of course, lots of great stuff in Susan's class that didn't. Oh, there's found something all chewed. And so I actually, like, you know, again, it may not be something I ever publish or something like that, but it's been something in my head I've wanted to do for a long time and just never actually done it. Well, you know, you're sitting there and she's like, do it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I have 3 hours. Like, I actually need to do this thing. Like, again, the time has been blocked out for me. We're in the right environment. And so it's just that, it's like a great little push. And so again, that was, and we had this great discussion about, like, if you're an older knitter, not older age-wise, but if you've been knitting for a while, Like when I started knitting there, the make one left, make one right was not really a thing you ever even saw. I don't know that it hadn't been invented, but it was not something you saw. And so like the make one left, make one right is a newer convention. And we were talking about that and like how really on a shawl or something. And I know that I've been guilty of it. Like, why didn't they use the make one left and make one right? Or why did they use them opposite? Or I know I'm sure at some point, and that's the other thing that's hard. It's like, you know, the opinions expressed in this podcast are that only of the podcaster, not of any real world situations or anything like that. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Just talking about how I feel on that day. Ask me another day, might be completely different. So, like, if I ever say something like, well, I should only do this. That's just me. You do what you want. You do what floats your boat. This is just what happens to be floating my boat at this point. Oh, I forgot to tell you this about. I cast on, this is just very briefly, I cast on Paula's Wild Goose Chase. Paula has a new shawl out. It's called Paula Emmons Feasley. If you're on first name basis with Paula. Paula Emmons Feasley of Knitting Pipeline fame has a new, and Prairie Piper fame and all of her fames, has a new pattern out called Wild Goose, and it's a basic garter shape or a garter stitch shawl body, and then it has some fun stuff on the edge, which is designed specifically for wildly variegated yarns or highly variegated yarns. So I'm knitting mine out of a knit spin farm bath that I got. So so even though it's not variegated yarn, it's hand spun, which pattern wise often works out to be about the same. So yeah. But I was talking about Susan's shawl class. Susan talked all about Paula and her genius, which of course she should because Paula's a genius. But then of course Susan's a genius, so there was like so much genius happening. It was awesome. But you know, again, just sometimes having that formalized moment of like, even again, it was just like your knowledge is coalescing, you're getting additional input, you're put in the right time and the right context to do something. It's a good thing. Classes are awesome sauce. So, I don't know, I didn't say enough good things about it, but I said all the things I can think of at this very second. And then I took a class in the afternoon from MJ Mucklestone, which was a Fair Isle shaping class. I was so fried by then. It was, but it was really nice. The content of the class the structure of the class was such that there was a lot of downtime in terms of like you were knitting to do something else, which would not necessarily be my favorite thing. However, the good thing about it was that MJ had lots of great stories, and so we learned a lot. Again, not that we didn't learn the prescribed content, but you learned a lot more stuff just from interacting with the instructor and your classmates as well. But learned a lot about Wall Week in the Fair Isles. I learned about it. It was fun. It was just fun because of that. But I was like this at that point, and so what we were knitting to do the techniques went from like a 4-stitch pattern repeat to like a 12-stitch pattern repeat, and I think I ripped that line back like 4 times. I just couldn't make it happen. It was like 2:30, 3 o'clock on the Friday afternoon, and I just sat. I was at my saturation point. Like it was just like, brr. So I really was an advocate of please tell us more stories because I can't think anymore. So, oh, excuse me. So it was great. It always is. This is the 3rd time I've gone. It's always wonderful. Hopefully I can always vend or win a lottery or something, and I can keep going back because it's not too far, you know, and it's fun. And I would love to go to more retreats. I would love it. Would love it. But, you know, there's just financial reasons and time reasons. You know, a lot of the places are farther away. The nice thing about SSK is it's 4.5 hours away, so it's a nice, fairly easy drive. Yeah, but there's time reasons. There's time constraints. You know, we don't have family that's right here to watch, you know, if Tova needs to get off a bus a day or something like that. Or again, just, you know, having partners take time off so that they can be on the home front and all of that stuff. You know, I know we can't always go to all the things we want to go to, but hopefully you can make time for yourself to go to 1 or 2 because they're really worth it. And you're worth it and stuff. Punchy. So I think what I'll try to do is, this will give me an excuse not to unpack even longer, right? I think what I'll try to do is talk more next week maybe. about all this stuff. I thought for some reason, well, not for some reason, I really thought that I had bought way more than I did. So, I mean, I still bought more than I should have because I should have bought nothing. I should have bought 0 things. But I didn't go as crazy as I thought I did because I did all my shopping within like 10 minutes. It felt like I had gone bonkers, but it was just because I didn't shop all day long. I just shopped in one little tight nugget. So, but I think I should probably wait till next week to talk about that because otherwise this podcast is going to be like an hour and a half long. And I know some of you don't mind, but the reality of uploading an hour and a half long podcast, editing a podcast, not that I edit that much, but you know, just compressing and crunching and and changing, converting files and all that stuff, it can get a little kooky. So I think I'll stop there for this week. And then next week, I will record another podcast. I'll talk about stuff, but I'll also, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. I will also talk about my loot, my woolly loot. Because I got a few lovely, I mean, very generous and much appreciated gifts, which were awesome sauce. I'm the worst person ever. I never bring gifts. It's just how I'm broken in that way, basically. You should, but you know, I used to get really stressed out about it, and then I was like, you know what, when I give a gift, I don't expect a return gift. I give it because I want to give it. And when I give a gift, it is because I want to give it. It's not in any way obligation. It is like an inspired moment. But really with most of you, I'm just like, I feel like I feel weird about giving yarn or fiber because it's like, here's the present with homework. Do you know what I mean? And so I don't want to stress you out. And like, I know that we all have enough yarn and fiber. So most of us are just like, no, really, I'm fine. And then you can buy what you want. And sometimes the fun of it is buying it, all that stuff. So that's all tied together. And so, and then I like get really, you know, if we're going to live and be excited about a book that's all about having only things in your life that you really love and are really functional for you at that time, right? And we're really trying to minimalize the amount of stuff in our lives, I sometimes feel I feel like I can't give a gift in a way. Not that I can't give a gift, because again, if it's inspired and I love it, then I will give it. But I have to feel that way to give a gift, because otherwise that other stuff outweighs the joy of giving the gift. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So anyway, so the only gift I gave was I gave Froggy Monkey, who's the cute little Amy of Amy and Darren and Knitting in Circles podcast. I gave her some parchment paper, cast iron Dutch oven liners. Again, because I was like, she doesn't know about those and she needs them. And so I was very excited to give that gift. I'm not telling you that because I'm like, you know, yay me. I'm just like, that is the gift that I'm very excited about giving, is when I'm like, this is something they want or need, yay, and they don't have it, yay. But really, overall, a lot of us are grown-ups. A lot of us buy what we need or want, you know? So, anyway, that's how I feel like gifts. Sometimes they stress me out. It's not that I don't appreciate gifts and everything, because I really deeply do, and I feel like I communicate that. But the concept of getting the gift freaks me out, because I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I don't want to stress you out. As we've mentioned, I'm a little bit crazy. Have we mentioned that? I think we have. So anyway, so here's this. Oh, this is all my bag of goodies, and I'll just show you the bag because it's so pretty. Beck of Gusler Designs, who makes this super awesome spinning tides of awesomeness, designed the bag, and it smells like my Tuft woolen soap, which was part of the goodie bag. But anyway, I won't show you all the goodies because that would just be crazy. But I'll show you all the goodies that I purchased and some of my lovely gifts, because they're awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm just going to talk about it right now. No, I'll talk about it next time, because this episode is going to already be taking forever. Okay, so I will see you next time. Bye.